Hello and welcome to GrindslimeTV with me, your host Aaron. And today we're heading over to Italy. Now, Italy has a whole bunch of really cool stuff. They've got great music for a start, they have some of the best horror movies, and they have some of the best spaghetti. So we are of course looking at a band that I should think celebrates all three, and that is of course Larvae and their EP Arousal of the Crawling Creature. See, there's the crawling creature. Hello! He's coming out of the bog and whatnot. Very cool stuff. Really cool little EP. Yeah, it's about 12 minutes long, I think. Something like that. Really, really cool. You get like 6 tracks on here. One's like an outro. One of them's an intro. So you get 4 really cool songs. Got all the lyrics in there. Look, pretty cool. Some of it's in Italian. Like over here too. Where was it? Yeah, over here, this one. But, they're Italian, so that makes sense. And there's something very musical about the Italian language as well. It flows very romantically, like the Spanish or the French. But, yeah, really can't go wrong with a bit of this. Now, as far as Larvae goes, I am quite the fan. I now own all their stuff, because this turned up, what day is it today? Monday? So Saturday, this eventually turned up. So really, really pleased about this. And what I like about Larvae is that it kind of sounds, from my own perspective, quite unique. Quite original. I first got into this band maybe last year before that. I really liked their demo and both of their 7-inches that they put out. Fantastic. The 2 7-inches in particular are probably my favourite things they've put out, but that doesn't take anything away from this release. This is really cool too. Now, this tends to lean a little bit more to the quirkier side of things than the other two. Not by loads, maybe just by like 10%. But what I like about Larvae is that they do this sort of clean vocal thing in there, but it doesn't sound pretty or anything like that. It sounds very sort of like a maniacal nursery rhyme, like maybe a child or an old lady is trying to sort of sing it, and it just comes across and haggardy and really generally unsettling, which is really cool and missing from a lot of music these days. Like I remember as a kid when I was like when I first discovered Cradle of Filth, listening to Midian, and I think the first time I listened to the album start to finish was I was in the car going to to or from my aunt's, probably from my aunt's house. And so it would have been, because it was quite late and it was dark. And I was in the back of the car, and as we were driving past all these trees and stuff, because she lives out in the sticks, I was listening to the Cradle of Filth. It was very sort of, what was that moving in the tree? Oh, oh, so it was generally kind of, it was spooky. And I get the same thing from Larvae, which is really, really cool. It's nice to sort of have that sort of feeling back. There's the 3 of them there, look, from the looks of it. I think they're volunteering down at the local cemetery doing some landscaping, which is very kind of them. So cheers for that, boys and girls. So got that going on, which is very cool. Lovely little white tape here. Very simple, nice little bit of tape in there, just a little bit. And it's one of those. This is the Unholy Domains Records. This bad boy came out on. Seems a bit wasteful to me to have like split this up onto 2 sides when they could have just had the program repeat on both sides, which would have been much cooler. But 5 minutes in, I've got to turn it around, and that's what happens with tapes. You know what you're getting into. That's them be the breaks, I guess. But it just, I thought, would have been nice, but oh well, not my release. If that's the way they wanted to do it, that's the way they will do it, and I have no say in it absolutely whatsoever, and that's the way it should be. Now, music-wise, Aaron, you've said a lot about this band, but what do they sound like? Well, they sound like a mix between sort of old, like slowly we rock kind of obituary with some gore grind, death, like Necrony style, plus stoner doom mixed together with some sort of weird horror vocal stuff going on and organs, and so just very, very atmospheric, very creepy, very cool sort of horror feel. If you're into like the horror movies of Italy, like the Giallo movies and some of their splatter stuff, then this will probably tickle your fancy. It just borrows a lot from them, and I've read in zines as well, you know, with Lucilia, the singer, guitarist, and keyboardist, where you know Italian horror is very much her jam, which is very nice to see. Because you get a lot of these sort of like horror influenced um, death metal musicians today, I've noticed, and I'm sure some of you have too. I won't mention any names, but they make out they're these huge horror fans. And then as soon as you start talking to them, it's like, oh, you're not that much of a horror fan. I mean, you know, not to be elitist about it, because I can't stand any of that stuff, but it's just like, you can tell she's genuinely passionate about this stuff and not just saying it to be like, oh, aren't I edgy? You know, oh, I'm all twisted and weird. Because there's this, hopefully I won't give too much away here, but there's one band in particular from the UK, one man band, and he's always sort of parading this elite sort of, oh, I'm the self-appointed authority on good horror and all this stuff, and it's like, and then you see what he's into, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. I don't throw the word poser around a lot, but you get a lot of them in the scene, particularly when it comes to like the horror metal sort of stuff. It's, I don't know, maybe it's just me being silly, and it probably is. You know, I'm not perfect, but fucking, it's nice when someone is genuinely passionate about what they say they are, and it really does show in the music. Okay, it's not ripping anybody off, it's not lifting riffs, it's not just flooding it with samples and then going, oh, that'll do, it's horror music. Yeah, yeah. Oh, look, I just copied Mortician. No, you don't get that with Larvae. You get in there, and it's like its own horror experience. Really, really cool. And just you shut your mouth. Fantastic stuff. And like I said, I do prefer the 2 7-inches that came out. Not just, and again, not to take anything away from this, because this is still really good. I really enjoyed it. First time I heard it, I'd admit I was a bit, I don't know about this. But after a few more sort of plays, I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy this. This is really cool. So streaming's good for that, at least, because I had to sell so many CDs in the past for various, you know, money reasons, as one does, but also because a lot of the CDs I used to own I didn't like, because, you know, most of you who are watching this will know that, you know, our generation, we came from, you bought it hoping it would be good. You couldn't check it out online beforehand. Sometimes, if you were lucky, you'd find a shop and they'd let you listen to the CD on the CD player in the corner quickly, and we're like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, I'll buy that. But that was quite rare. So with streaming, that is definitely something that's, I think a lot of people take for granted, particularly the older elitist guys. I said elitist a lot of times in this video. You know, but the ones who are always like, oh yeah, fuck streaming, it destroys music. Well, I've discovered a lot of bands through streaming and bought their merch and albums and gone to their shows. So in that respect, it's actually helped them. So, you know, but I'm a physical media man, as you guys know. I like to pick up the stuff, and I was very happy I picked this up, because this is one of the more promising kind of bands that I've heard come out in recent years. And lots, they got a very modest discography of a demo 2 7-inches and this. But, oh, I tell thee, fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff all round. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what else they put out. And I believe the vinyl was put out by Mesa, which I probably just completely butchered. But yeah, this was out. The tape version, at least, is Unholy, the main records, and definitely worth your time if you like. You know, it's mainly slow pace. There's no blast beats or anything like that on here. I don't think any of their stuff has blast beats. Now I think about it, maybe there is. I might have to quickly revisit at some point. But you know how it goes when you've got so much music. Whew. But that's the beauty of this. It does stand out, and I've, someone in the comments, I think it was Smithy, he said that the band Troll Cave are very similar. And I checked them out, and he's right. There's some similarities there for sure. I don't know who was about first. Don't really care. They both make great music. But when I heard Larvae the first time, it was a couple of years ago or a year ago, whenever it was, I was I was excited. I was like, yeah, this is cool. No one else at the moment that I'm aware of is putting out music quite like this. And of course, there probably are a whole other bunch of bands that are doing it. I don't pretend to know everything. Jesus, so many bands out there that I'm not even aware of that have been putting out music for 30 years, and I'm just finding them and going, how the fuck did I miss this? You know, but yeah. So for those of you who are interested in some genuinely unsettling horror kind of metal, and not just metal with horror lyrics, I'm talking like this actually feels like it's telling a story at the same time, you know, like when the lyrics, like when it talks about the creature suddenly rising and stuff, something that the music does with it as well. So it's kind of like a narrative going along with it to sort of feed this kind of composition and or decomposition, if you would. One of those overused puns. Oh yes. So yeah, definitely get on this. Larvae, Arousal of the Crawling Creature. Really cool. My only drawback from this is that on the song Fatal Erotic Torment, it does this sort of demonic orgasmic sound at the end, and I get it's it's erotic, you know, makes sense, but it just comes across more funny than it does anything else. Now, it sounds like Elmo getting fingered, is what I'm getting at. But other than that, like I mean, and I can just forgive that. It's like a tiny couple of seconds, but for the most part, this is a cracking little record. I definitely recommend people picking it up. And yeah, that's basically that. 12 minutes I banged on for there. So I'll catch you all tomorrow. Support the underground. Listen to some Larvae. Watch a horror movie or something. It is the season after all. I myself am making my way through my Tales from the Crypt box set. Oh, you got me, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Ooh. So I'll catch you all later. And be on the lookout for creatures.